I also made the case for owning Bitcoin, the quintessence of scarcity premium. It's literally the only large tradable asset in the world that has a known fixed maximum supply. By its design, the total quantity of Bitcoins cannot exceed 21 million.
Bitcoin is the hardest money that has ever been invented.
If you don't have my private key, you cannot spend my Bitcoin, period. And this is the power of Bitcoin.
It's the first time we figured out how to create true property that you can take possession of with full custodial rights.
Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome to Solo Rip number 23 here on the Talking of Bits podcast, where we can, as I always say, like to say whatever the fuck we want to say. And this might as well be called the Cast Iron Maxi episode. I can't believe Bitcoiners and Bitcoin Twitter are fucking relentless. I mean, we know we're going to win so bad, and we know we're going to win, and it's so obvious that we take out the time from our serious conversations about what's happening in the world and what's going on with the fiat dollar and all these other things, just to battle it out about cast irons. And for those of you that are not on Bitcoin Twitter, first of all, congratulations. Smart move on your end. Bunch of maniacs on there, including myself. But Safety, basically came out and basically said he doesn't use cast iron and we all know Safety as being like the carnivore of carnivores. He dedicated like a whole chapter of this in the fiat standard. But yeah, Safety came out and basically said, hey, there's no reason for cast irons. I don't use cast irons. And I'm not about to dig too deep into that because I think it's kind of a hilarious topic and pointless. But I'm a cast iron maxi. I love all my grass-fed, grass-finished beef and steaks basically done on a cast iron with some grass-fed butter or some tallow, right? Or some ghee, which is pretty much just butter. And I think there is a huge difference here. As for the cleaning process, like Safety try to say later on, that's arguable, man. All you got to do is just heat the bitch up and just all the shit just comes right off of it. But whatever. This isn't the episode for that. Welcome back to episode 23 of Solo Rip here, where we keep these concise episodes here on the weekends when you have more time to be able to think about these thoughts, share these thoughts, whether you go to your shooting range match or whether you go to a birthday party, whether you go to whatever it is that you guys do on these weekends. Hopefully you can get some information from me and you can either agree with me, disagree with me. It's all good. That's actually the point. But I don't want to take up too much of your time either. And that's also the point of these. If you want a longer set episode where we bring in some of the smartest people in Bitcoin, some of the most bullish people in Bitcoin, then definitely check out our main chain episodes. They release every Wednesday. And last one, we just had Jason Rick on from Rick Ranches. And, I'm starting to meet more farmers. I'm starting to shake more hands. I'm starting to understand the correlations between ranching and Bitcoin. And it's a magical one. And it's one that's very, very, very closely relative to Bitcoin. And that's low time preference work with proof of work being backed behind it. And then sound money and sound nutrition going hand in hand. That conversation with Jason was phenomenal. So go check it out. One of the smartest ranchers I've ever met in my life. And I know that may not be a long list, but it is an ever-growing list. And from the very second that I talked to Jason, me and him started talking about how, podcasting is the last free-form speech platform where we can say whatever we want. And then I gave him my take on it, which you guys get to hear often, which is there's nobody going to stop me and censor me from doing this. I'm always going to be the conduit of information for my listeners. I'm always going to be able to say whatever it is that I want to say. And I'm very passionate about that fight. And that's one of the hills that I actually die on. And I was talking to him about that. And then Vitor, he feels the same exact way about ranching and about being able to provide good nutrition, especially to the kids coming up that require this good nutrition, because us parents and most of the generation before us were psyopted into thinking that all the good nutrition was found in the Kellogg's aisle, right, with all the grains and all that crap. And that's a bunch of bullshit. So awesome, fascinating conversation. He is very based, right, not only on Bitcoin, but on ranching and the similarities. And usually you find one or the other. You find a Bitcoiner that knows about ranching, and you find a rancher that knows a bit about Bitcoin, but rarely do you find that like really good blend of the two. And Jason Rick is that guy. So please go check out that main episode. We got more episodes coming up. As always, we try to keep these coming 2 episodes a week, but that's only possible with contributions from y'all. This is a Value for Value podcast. I only put in my magic so you guys can let me know how you're receiving that magic. So although I love to do this, your contribution, your value for value set, whether it be $1, 1 penny, $5, $50, it doesn't really matter. That casts as a vote in the system of I'm doing the right thing and you guys want to hear more about this. So definitely check out any value for value streaming platform. But without further ado, in this Cast Iron Maxi episode, it's not really called that, but I found it kind of funny. I want to go on a little bit about these, basically the Fed and basically all these other entities that exist that are here to basically have been from ECB, are here to capture our value and our wealth from these central banks, and they've been stealing our time and money. I want to bring up a few things about them and when it comes to CBDCs, and then I want to go on my usual tangent at the end of this episode that not only am I known for, which is shout out to y'all, I appreciate that you guys even care, but enough's enough. I'm sick and tired of the way things are in this world, in this current way it is. And I'm sick and tired of these very few people basically having ownership of all this stuff and being able to dictate these rules. And that's kind of what comes through in my rants is enough is enough. And it's a calling cry to anybody who's listening to be able to step up and be able to help, just like I'm trying to help transform the narrative here and get humanity, right? Because these people don't care about humanity. They care about themselves and their legacy and laundering money all over the fucking place to put it back in the pockets of their heirs and all this stuff, while you and I, the normal people, the people that work our asses off, get to sit and fucking drown in the mud, right? And that's what I'm sick and tired of. So the very first topic I want to talk about is ECB Chief Lagarde says that she does not like the new period of free banking due to cryptocurrencies. Central bank digital currencies, as we call them CBDCs, are required to maintain the role of central banks. Well, Chief Lagarde, and I'm not even going to call you, lizard-looking lady, go fuck your fucking self. That is exactly the point of why Bitcoin, I know this article says cryptocurrencies, but we all know damn well that she's talking about Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the only one that is putting a knife to the throat of the central bank system that has continued to pillage from us for years and years and years upon years. And she can sit here and yap her fucking mouth all she wants, trying to protect her heirs and try to protect all the shit that she's built. And she's absolutely fucking right. That power struggle, or that power grab that these central banks have is toast, is gone. It's not a matter on if, it's a matter of when. Right? When the rest of the world starts to realize that Bitcoin is that thing that separates money and state. And the reason she's fucking crying, or what she will call stating, I call crying and suffering, is because her and all her little crony buddies at the central bank are basically seeing what's happening. And right now it's a small fraction of the population, maybe 10 to 15%, that realize that separation of money and state is in our grasp, right? But what she's trying to do is stop that process from happening. What she's trying to do, and her crony friends, by the way, is try to roll out the CBDC, which, as we know, is going to try to mimic and model what Bitcoin is doing, but is going to do it in a privacy infringement manner, right? You're not going to be able to walk in one day and say, hey, I want to buy this grass-fed, grass-finished beef from Mr. Will Harris or from Cole Bolton, right? You're not going to get that ability because they're going to bring up some law, some bullshit that says, oh, because of your high cholesterol, which we all know is a fucking joke and was a myth, you're not able to spend your hard-earned money on that. And that's what CBDC is trying to do. And instead of saying, hey, central bankers are going to start to relieve the pressure and get better and be all about humanity and society, all she's basically trying to tell me is, oh shit, we need to escalate to a better form of money to continue to put the foot on your throat. That's all I hear from this lady and all her fucking cronies. And if you look at the comments on this, and I'll link it through, is basically a lot of people like me and like us Bitcoiners that basically understand that with Bitcoin, they're not going to be able to launder their money and be able to pay their heirs. With Bitcoin, they're actually going to have to do something for the community, do something for the people that vote for them in order to be in the position that they're in. With Bitcoin, they're not going to be able to print an endless amount of money. With Bitcoin, they won't be able to hide behind that walled garden that is central banking, which has stolen so much from us and continues to steal so much from the generations that are coming up in all forms and all aspects. So when it comes to fiat food, when it comes to fiat education and all those other things, they continue to want to pillage. CBDCs is a fucking joke. CBDCs is the 2.0 of fiat dollars. It's the elevation of fiat dollars. And they're going to try to mask it in this nice little package where it's blockchain technology and it's all, their public. But that's not true. It's their money. And without true proof of work, we don't have that actual free market. So no goddamn shit you're scared of the free market, because with the free market, the people are going to decide and central banks cease to exist. So you, Miss Snake Face, Leather Face, so many different analogies that I can see at just looking at your little video here. You and your little crony buddies are fucked. And I know y'all going to put up a good fight. I don't expect y'all and the millions and millions and billions and trillions of dollars that you have backing behind you that you have pillaged from us, right? And are going to go away quietly. I'm sure y'all going to put up a good fight. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's a losing fight for you. Because ultimately, as people start to wake up and as people start to see the benefits of Bitcoin and its anonymous nature and its instant settlement nature and its use capability, practical use, and its storage of wealth properties that it possesses, you have nothing that you can create that outcompetes that. And in the free market, although there may be some turbulence and there may be some volatility in that free market until the people figure it out, it's only a matter of time before that turbulence and volatility ends. And there's only a certain amount of time when people decide that the fiat dollar is just a piece of paper to wipe their butt with. And when that comes your role in this world is gone. And all that shit that you were banking on for your heirs, because all these motherfuckers have dozens and dozens of offshore accounts that are ready for their heirs and property and real estate and land that they've been able to steal from us, right? To be able to put in their possession and put into their name. All that shit goes away when we actually let the free market do what it do. So y'all be ready. If you're listening and you're a Bitcoiner and you're like me, you're already in the front seat. You already have the front seat to what's about to go down. Now, don't get me wrong. We're going to have to fight. This isn't a laid back and cruise type of journey, but we're going to fight for a future, right? Where our children can eat the better food and our children can have the better wealth and our children don't have to be under the whims of tyranny of freaking people like this. I didn't vote for this person. I don't even know who this fucking person is and how she got there, but I tell you what, she was probably there before I was even born and she shouldn't be there now. The U.S. example of that is the Nancy Pelosi's of the world. I didn't vote for that fucking weirdo. That weirdo just happens to be there, and that weirdo just happens to be leveraging her position, and that weirdo, for whatever dumbass fucking reason, can't seem to get removed from that spot until she croaks, right? So, Pelosi's of the world, Lagarde of the world, all these fucking central banker-tied motherfucking politicians and higher-ups, get ready because we're coming for you. And you guys know that we're coming for you, and that's why articles like this exist. Moving on to that, federal chair, by the way, this is not a secret, but it's always fascinating to me how the Federal Reserve is not a federal agency. So they're not federal and they don't have any reserves, but they have all this power. That's always fascinating to me. So the Federal Reserve Chair, Powell, right, is basically out here saying that U.S. central digital currencies would not be anonymous. So at least for his fucking respects, he's saying the goddamn truth. Now, he did say some other shit, that they're better, that they're faster, that they're a bunch of other shit, but he couldn't escape the elephant in the room, which is you will not have privacy, right? Which is something the fiat dollar, with all its deficits and all its cons, actually provides you. If you actually trade in fiat dollars, not through Visa, not through your bank, that in fiat dollars and barter fiat dollars, you actually get some type of privacy because that transaction is actually off the grid. Just like a lot of under the table workers, as they like to call it, basically are people that are getting paid off the grid. They're getting paid in fiat dollars, and there's no way for the government to track fiat dollars. So although he's basically admitting that there's no anonymous, he's trying to say that that's a strong suit, right? Like that's an actual, like a pro, not a con. That's a feature, not a bug, right? By basically saying that the currency cannot be anonymous because... I didn't really go into a statement, but I could imagine it's something along the lines of like, because you won't be able to conduct criminal activity, because, all this other bullshit, we need to be, for your safety, we need to, No, what you basically sneaked in there is basically what we all, especially as Bitcoiners, have known, and that is that this money is censorship money, right? They can't do that with the dollar to a certain extent. So they're going to inflate and debase the dollar into recession until the shit blows up so that they can introduce the solution. And the solution is going to be dollar 2.0, right? Which is going to be the CBDC. And then they're gonna start selling it as this is blockchain, this is instant, this is all that. While underneath, what it really is a way to censor you, a way to stop you from getting your funds. If you were to be like me, who says whatever the fuck he wants, then if this was a CBDC world, guess what? I can't get any money because they're gonna shut my channel down. And a lot of these creators are worried now that YouTube is shutting them down and XYZ is shutting them down. Well, imagine when they shut you down for money, right? When they say because you are this person, because you are a Joe Rogan of the world, now you can't use this fucking money anymore. You can't go anywhere and spend it. We have you under complete lockdown. So the thing that you work for now is all about all hail whoever the law is, right? And be able to do, whatever the law tells you to do, because if not, you can't live, you can't breathe, you can't, breathe is not part of that, but pretty soon, damn near, with this whole climate narrative. But you can't buy this. You can't buy a weapon. You can't buy grass-fed, grass-finished beef. You can't buy this car. You can't buy whatever the fuck it is you want to buy because they say so. And most extreme part of that is you can't go to the hospital. You can't pay for medical care because you decided to eat grass-fed, grass-finished, which is supposedly going to increase your cholesterol. And because you didn't listen to us and your cholesterol is not high, well, we won't allow doctors to see you because your money is no good here. You see this slippery slope that's happening here? And you see where being anonymous and the values of Bitcoin are extremely important because they could do that shit to you at any fucking point in time. And that's what they want to do to you because as the WEF has said, by 2030, you will own nothing and you will be happy. As we like to joke around, you will eat Z-bugs, right? That's fucking crazy when you think about it. And that's why the free market, when it's left to be free, will always choose Bitcoin. We'll always choose the best way to, barter and do deals, right? And then you add a fixed supply cap to that. And then those people that are betting on that system of free bartering are also going to get the benefit of understanding that their money could never be inflated away from them, right? And that's important. The decisions get made through the consensus, not through these old motherfuckers that are sitting there for about 50 plus years and now for some reason just can't be moved. They can't be moved. It's fucking crazy when you think about it, but they can't be fucking moved until they croak. And then when they croak, the fucking crony that they've been grooming, after them, whether it's a family member or not, is going to come in and do the same fucking type of tyranny as long as this system exists. So you goddamn right, Lagarde, or whatever the hell your name is. You goddamn right, Powell. We have the lightning bolt to strike you motherfuckers down, and we're going to do so. And we are doing so. And we're doing this as a community, which is much more important. It's not like it was before where it was just the nerds or the tech guys or the computer guys. It's a community effort. It's everybody. It's the rancher down to the pleb, right? It's the businesses down to the average food trucks, like the big high profile business. It's everybody. We all have this movement. We all have this way to transact value. We all have this way to store time. And now we no longer need you or your shitty systems. Matter of fact, those shitty systems are dying and they're dead, right? So next 6 months are going to be extremely fascinating. I tell you that. But I continue to get more and more bullish every day, right? Because there's people actually trying to solve those problems. And there's a perfect segue to go in. Strike raises another $80 million from 1031. Back in fiat land, you would just say, oh, here's another business that's getting more money from another business and more cuckery going on and more rules. Well, in this situation, as Jack Mallers says, and you guys know my opinion on Jack Mallers and rolling out features years before they actually come out, but the impact is there. We're going to get $80 million, and this is paraphrasing, to take on Visa. Ooh, does that make me fucking bullish, right? Because we can all sit here and say we stack sats and we win, but I've told y'all before that's not the fucking case. It's not just stack sats and win. It's bringing it. It's bringing the fucking gun to the gunfight. It's understanding that Visa makes trillions of dollars on remittance, on your money, on my money, and now there's a young kid and a new space or a young space in Bitcoin basically saying, well, I'm raising money to go against y'all, to bring that gun to y'all, right? Or if you want to call it a knife fight, we're bringing the blade. We're going to go toe to toe here, knife for knife. And you're going to have to prove to the world, Visa, to the free market, why you need to exist when this lightning technology exists. When this ability to settle instantly with no with no remittance and no middleman and no 10 jumps, right? So the battle's on, y'all. Y'all gonna have to explain to the world why y'all need it or why y'all exist. And you could try to like correlate and say that you're gonna do Visa, Bitcoin backed wallets, but eventually it's gonna be, why do we need you at all, period? We can transact in this fashion, right? And I'm bullish on Jack Mallers for doing that, and I'm bullish on Strike and every other Bitcoin company that's out there. Oshi just got a nice funding round. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that. Maybe that's not news, or maybe it is news, but it makes me bullish because Oshi is one of these, companies, Michael Atwood, shout out to Michael, where they're basically going in and telling the small mom and pop shops, fuck these guys, man. Not like that. They're nicer. But you know what I'm saying? Fuck these Visa companies, man. Give this back to your clientele. Give this 3.5% in rewards. Give it back to them in discounts. Give it back to them however you want, but don't give it to them. Don't give it to Visa. Don't give it to MasterCard. And you don't even need to understand the intricacies of Bitcoin to understand how that's a benefit for you, right? And then a new market comes your way, right? So like now you don't just have, typical fiat old legacy buyers. You have a rabid fan base and a rabid following that's in Bitcoin that may come and do business at your shop just because you've opened up this on-ramp for them to be able to exchange this currency that they know is much more valuable. The reason I'm all for, and I do on a bi-weekly basis, give my local rancher Bitcoin, right, is because I want them to get their time encapsulated in value, right? And I want to spend my Bitcoin because that's how economies get built out, is by spending it, right? And through individuals and entities like Oshi, well, we're able to do that easily. We're able to say, hey, rancher, here is your proof. Here is, you give me your proof of work, which is the meat, and we all part ways. And it's a fair exchange and it's an instant settlement. So I'm bullish on the Ibexes of the world. I'm bullish on the Oshis of the world. I'm bullish on Strike raising another $80 million. And this is all KYC aside. I understand that KYC is a monster and it's a problem, but I'm still with fighting the fight. And if you're telling me that Strike raising $80 million because their KYC on-ramp is a bad idea, I think you got it fucked up. And so do I sometimes in my past, because I brought them some things about Strike that may have been fucked up. The point is that they're going for the big dogs, man. They're not going to be put out of misery. They're not going for these small sharks, right, so that a big dog could come and step on them like Visa. They're going right at the throat at these motherfuckers. And that needs to be honored, right? And then you got Saylor continuing to buy and buy and buy and buy and continue to set the trend that he set a few years ago, which is, if y'all don't got Bitcoin on y'all balance sheet, y'all doing something fucking wrong. And if y'all don't got Bitcoin on y'all balance sheet, well, get the fuck out my way, because I'm going to continue to rake this in. Because he understands that we are finally on the verge of separating money and state. Get with it, y'all. Mine, do what you need to do. Work for your Bitcoin, do what you need to do. Increase your DCA a little bit, do what you need to do. But be assured that the next 6 months to a year for this dollar is not looking too fucking good. And if you're banking all your money on the dollar and you're banking all your wealth on the dollar, then you might have a hard time with what's to come. Nobody's a psychic and nobody can predict it, but you look for the signs. And the signs are heading towards recession. The signs are heading to the dollar being debased even more than it already is. And the problem is that they don't give a fuck because their legacy and their heirs are already set for life. You're the one that has to deal with it because they'll steal it from you ultimately. They gave most of y'all $600 for this COVID bullshit, and here we go on the following year after those $600. You can barely breathe, you can barely live, and taxes are at all-time high. So you let me know if that was a gift or if that was just a soft way to put you to sleep. That's what's happening here, y'all. So all this stuff makes me bullish. What I started this episode with makes me understand that they're fucking scared shitless. And what I start seeing when it comes to the Bitcoiners and the signal and the news is we're fucking putting our foot on their throat and we're pushing fucking hard. And here I am doing the same exact fucking thing, sharing the message, spreading the word, working for it, trading for it. Not trading like a stock trader, trading my value for it. So given the skills that I've acquired, my contributions to Bitcoin in exchange for this, and conversely paying out the Bitcoin that I've received in order to be able to help a rancher or help somebody else be able to establish their money. Because if I'm giving them dollars and they're not moving those dollars really fast, man, did that, year that they spent raising that cattle just go to waste. Maybe even longer than that. But conversely, I could give them the choice. Here you go. Right? If you got bills to pay right away, then get rid of that fucking dirty toilet money right away. But the rest of it, put it away. So this is my donation to you and to your future by giving you this hard-earned money. And conversely, that's what happens to me. And that's what value is all about. Adam Curry says that it's the international new lifestyle. It absolutely fucking is. Because now I could choose how much of my future I want to store away versus how much of this dirty toilet paper money do I want to keep around. And that's fucking important. And on to my final rant here. They're coming for us, man. This CBDC, right? All this shit that's happening in the markets and all this money that they're pumping and laundering across seas, they're coming for us. They're coming for our kids. They want to confuse our kids. They want them to be malnourished. They want us to be malnourished so that we can't take care of them. They want us to be confused. They want us to hate each other. They want us to continue to fight each other so that they can win. But ultimately, I'm going to be perfectly frank with y'all. And this may be a little bit scary, or it may not be. It may be a calling call, a crying call, whatever the hell it is you want it is. A signal. There you go. A signal to make sure that you understand that if you're listening to this and you have any understanding or any familiarity with what's going on in this world, you better put on and strap on the fucking boots, because the fight is here and the fight is now. We can meme post and we can shit post all we fucking want, and that's fun. It's great. But the fight is here now. Make sure you pick your position. Make sure you put on your boots. Make sure you defend your children and the children around you. Make sure you defend it all, because they're not going to stop until they take it from us all. They're not going to stop until they're in control. And there's a lot of ways, and hopefully the podcast and the guests that come on this podcast will get you closer to being prepared. But you need to be prepared. They're coming for us. They're coming for us. And for those that are saying, but what if the federal gets this, what if the government puts this law in, what is this? I'm going to give you a good analogy here that could be controversial, but could not, right? We're all slaves. And if you go back to the slaves, right, and you go back to what they were going through, and when after a long day of being whooped, and after a long day of being told what to do and being mistreated and being treated as dirt, right? When they got together at the end of their days to have whatever it is that they had left, which was congregation, which was community, there was two classes of people in that group. They were the ones that were game planning. Hey, how do we get out of here? What is it that we need to do to win? How is it that we revolt? How is it that we get together and make change, bring change to our life, right? You talk about these things like the Underground Railroad, right? There were certain individuals there, like the Harriet Tubmans of the world and the Frederick Douglasses of the world, that were basically on the side of, well, what the fuck are we going to do to bring the gun to the gunfight, the knife to the knife fight? What are we going to do to push forward? And then there was the other breed of slave, right? The other one that was sitting there, but master said, right? But master said you shouldn't do this. But master said we're going to be in trouble if we do that. But man, if you don't get the fuck out of here with this but shit, right? But what if the government comes and takes over Bitcoin? But what happens if the state decides that, you know, Bitcoin, but get the fuck out of here with that but shit. And if this is too much and too straightforward for you, I get it. It's a lot. But I've gotten to the point, right? When I first came in, I was the but guy because I was intrigued. I was curious. But what I'm telling you is that the but does nothing to this fight. The but keeps your boots laced over there, right? Not on your feet where they needs to be, over there in the corner where you're looking at it. And the but makes these people that I spoke about earlier in this episode feel like they actually still have a chance to basically keep you a slave forever. And I'm here to tell you that there is no buts. Their tyranny is over. As Marty Bent would say, we're going to win because we are. And if you're going to butt me to death, go back and do more homework. Go back and get more convicted and go back and find how it is that you're suffering, because I promise you, whether it's through health, whether it's through education, whether it's through any of these fiat rails, you are suffering somehow, some way. And when you find that pain point and you figure out that it goes directly back to fiat dollars, you're going to stop telling me and everybody else, but, and you're going to strap on those fucking boots and you're going to come and join the fucking fight. And I'm telling y'all, this is why I got no ads. This is why I got no sponsors, because I want to be direct and I want to be clear with y'all. And I want to say it the way I'm saying it, which is a fed up fashion, which is I'm going to die on this hill to make sure my kids and y'all kids and anybody else that's going through this nonsense, this buffoonery, doesn't have to continue to deal with this. So stop butting me to death and continue to build and continue to get better and continue to contribute and continue to understand that Bitcoin has already won, whether you realize it or not. You could come in and we can figure out how we're going to build this underground railroad that eventually leads to our freedom. Or you could keep saying, but master, and wake up every single day getting whooped by that master and getting told what to do by that master until you die, until you perish. Completely up to you. Completely up to y'all. I have no more to say in that sense. That ends solo rip number 23. As always, I appreciate y'all. Until next week, you know where to find us. Podcasting 2.0 apps. We like Fountain. We like Breeze. Those are the best two places that you have to be able to onboard really quickly. But go to podcastindex.org/apps. That's going to give you a full list of any of the apps, whether they're web browser based or whether they're cell phone based, where you can provide value. Give some boost. Shout out to Ronnie for the last boost. Shout out to a few others that have given me a boost. I'm going to continue now and start now to shout out boosts because I do value those boosts. They're a vote to tell me that I'm doing the right thing, and I appreciate y'all as always. So check us out on Podcasting 2.0. Contribute to the show. Be a part of the show. Right? And if you want to just watch this on your free time, maybe on a monitor that you have at home, maybe in the background while you're working, then go check us out on Bitcoin TV. That's the place that we want to bolster. That's the place where we want all y'all to go because we know this information doesn't get censored there. And if you're not on the Bitcoin standard of media, like I always tell you, rate, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. That's how this information goes viral. That's how we're able to get this signal out. That's how we're able to get more boots on the ground. And that's something that I'm passionate about doing. As always, y'all, appreciate y'all. Go check that main chain episode out. Last one with Jason Brick was incredible. And I got a few other ones that are coming up that are really incredible. I appreciate your support as always. I'll catch y'all next week. Later.